Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Gather Party, a podcast for friends where I bring on each of my different friends each month and we talk about kind of whatever we want, but mostly video games, a little bit of news, and just the absurdities of life. And I'm really excited for a multitude of reasons for this episode. One, I'm excited about the guests that I'm having on. And it's also my 10th episode, which is a big milestone in the podcast community to make it to episode 10. Got a full party today for the first time in Gather Party history. We got the Poppy of PC, a.k.a. Ace Boogie, a.k.a. Alex vs. Lakers. Alex Marquez, what's up, man?
How you doing? How you doing? Thanks for having me back. It's episode 10. We made it.
What episode were you on? Was it 6 or 7?
I believe episode 6. Yeah.
6, yeah. Well, welcome back. And then, of course, a veteran now of the Gather Party Podcast, returning for his 3rd episode, our friendly neighborhood cinephile, a.k.a. Thug Nasty. What's up, Jordan? Welcome back.
Hey, how's it going? 3rd time's the charm. 10th episode in. Congratulations, my friend.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, that first episode, I haven't listened to it, I think, since we dropped that first episode. Only because I had no idea what I was doing for that first episode. It was a tough one, but we got through it. It's my most played episode too.
Oh, hey, yeah, right on. You must have hit off right at the bat really good, man.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of compliments about you, Jordan, actually, on that first episode. People liked hearing what you had to say. And I think it's my most played also because like a lot of friends and family were like super supportive of me and wanted to listen. And then after one episode, they were like, okay, it's probably not for me. This is not what I'll be listening to on the regular. But I appreciate everyone that gave a listen on that first episode. And then, like I said, we got a full party today. My last guest, a longtime listener, first time guest, the Sony Jabroni, a.k.a. Rams fan. Fabian, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I didn't know I was going to be on with such veterans with Jordan and Alex. But yeah, my first time on the podcast. This is my first podcast ever, so we'll see how it goes. Congratulations on episode 10. I guess a big milestone, and then you can probably call it quits from here, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I definitely want to make it to December, so at least try and get 2 more episodes in before I reevaluate things. But yeah, I'm excited to have you on, Fabian, because everyone that I've had on kind of has like a little bit of a niche in the community. You know, we got Jay here, who's the cinephiliac.
Can you say that normally, please? Like every time you say that, it's just a little disturbing. Because like I know what the word is, but ever since I taught you that, you're having too much fun.
No, Savannah hates it too. She hates when I call you that on the show and off the show because I refer to it now just whenever I'm talking about you. I use that name, and then Alex, of course, our PC player, represents the PC community. And now you're my first guest, Fabian, that primarily plays on PlayStation. So our Sony Jabroni. Yeah. And been waiting for Spider-Man 2 drop. Did you buy it day one? Didn't it release today?
It did, released midnight, but yeah, today. But I haven't been able to get the copy because I've just been busy. But hopefully within the next 24 to 48 hours, I'll go get a copy and play it. But it looks super good.
All right, you could log off now. That was really the point of you coming today. But if I don't know what we're going to talk about today, so we just call it a day now.
Yeah, I really wanted to get that Spider-Man impressions on here to boost my.
I need the Spider-Man scoop pronto.
Yeah, speaking of Spider-Man and sick, there was this I don't know, I don't want to say live, but it was a advertisement in Sydney today, and it was like a truck, a Spider-Man 2 truck, and it was kind of like up, like on its hood basically, and then they webbed it all up, and they were like, oh, Spider-Man came to save this truck from falling. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the publicity art piece that they did over there. Yeah. It's as if Spider-Man like webbed up the truck before it fell over.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Mass Effect 3, they were like, we're going to send this game to space. And they put them on a bunch of balloons, and they just put them in the air and GPS, and people could go find where it crash lands, and they'll like get a copy of an edition of Mass Effect 3 that went to space.
I don't remember that. I'll have to look
Yeah,
that
no,
up.
like the final copy got stuck in a tree like 30 feet high, and there was like a dozen guys at the bottom who were like waiting to try to get it to come down and stuff. But then everyone ended up getting a free copy that was there because BioWare was there. It's like, hey, well, it's the forests now, so here.
That's
everyone get
rare.
this.
That's rare air right there. That's rare air.
Yeah. And then one other person I forgot to introduce is myself. I'm Kevin. I'm the host, and
You don't
I'm
need
a
any
husband,
introduction.
dad, lifelong gamer.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Usually, I started a new tradition now. I shouldn't say usually, but I just started this in episode 8 of asking everyone when it's their first time on what their favorite game of all time is. But for this episode, because it is spooky season, I was going to ask you guys what your favorite horror game of all time is.
I'll choose a classic Halo 3 era, Xbox 360 era game, and that's Left 4 Dead 2. Favorite horror game of all time for me. I think it really set the way for just zombie games in general. I was going back and watching some gameplay footage, and just like the graphics aren't what you are playing that game for. It's just the thrill and the heart rate that you get from turning a corner and just, a zombie chasing you and the hordes chasing you. That's mine for sure, Left 4 Dead 2.
You started it off saying like Halo, and I was like, all right, I know the Flood are scary, but it's a sci-fi action game, and you're like, oh, Left 4 Dead, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you put Left 4 Dead in the show notes, it just brought back like just a flood of memories of trying to do expert missions and levels on there.
Yeah, speaking of having a full party, I mean, that was like a classic game where you just get 2 or 3 other squad mates and you're just going for it, and if one person gets left behind, at least you still have a shot, to complete.
Yeah. Or there was 3 of us, so there'd be one AI controlled teammate, and they were always the one getting left behind.
Man, you guys keep saying Left Behind, but they're Left 4 Dead. Come on, like it's a perfect opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's probably loads and loads of better horror games, but in my opinion, the best one that I played was Left 4 Dead 2.
Those Valve games, they go on for a long time. They have very strong communities. My favorite, it's kind of tough because I know there's one I really like, but it's kind of like that they brought the action into it. But I'd say my favorite horror game, if I want to be absolutely terrified, Alien Isolation.
Oh yeah. That's almost like a launch title, I feel like, on the Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah, I
It
can't
came out
recall.
early.
Yeah, I can't recall if it was a launch, but yeah, it was absolutely terrifying. A lot of Alien games before then, they tried to go take it from the Space Marine perspective. So you had to fight through hordes and use like your guns and take them out and stuff. So this one really they went to the classic idea of the first Alien. It was like, what if there's just one and it's you versus them? And the alien is unkillable, and it has an adaptive AI that picks up your techniques and the usual things you do. So like, it was really, really intuitive how they came up with the AI. So like, if you are somebody who consistently likes to go hide in lockers to get rid of the alien, the AI starts to pick that up, and it will frequently start checking lockers. So it'll force you to go take different techniques, and depending on how often you do certain techniques, it picks up on those more. And yeah, it's just really unpredictable sometimes too, because you think that it's going to do one thing, and all of a sudden it picks up a scent on you, and you're trying to run away and escape and hide.
Yeah, I played a few hours of it because it was on Game Pass for a long time, and I did try it. I didn't finish it though. I remember the combat being so super difficult because on the ship that you're on, there's also like other survivors, other scavengers that you have to fight too. But yeah, it was a pretty fun survival horror game though. I did like it a lot.
Wasn't
and
there
yeah,
like
it was at the time it was. Oh, go ahead, Fabian.
I would say, wasn't there like very unkillable like machines, robots too, walking around patrolling? Or am I thinking of another?
Oh yeah,
one?
they're very tough. You don't pick a fight with them unless you know you're going to take them down. They can
I
catch you
remember
off guard, and they don't aggro the alien.
All right, Fabian, what you got for us?
Well, I couldn't like what would be considered horror because I have a few in mind, but I wanted to go with Bloodborne, but I don't know what Bloodborne would be considered horror.
It's gothic and horror adjacent, I'd say for sure. It might not be a true horror game, but it certainly has that horror aesthetic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I just
jump
like the
scares in it,
aesthetic
so
of the Bloodborne. But for those of you who want to be technical, that's not a horror game. Then my next suggestion would have been like Slenderman.
Mm.
That's Slenderman on
classic.
PC.
Cult
Yeah,
classic.
the very
Yeah.
classic one. Just something about Slenderman. I just had fond memories of it when it first came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, dude, did you play this new game called Slenderman where you just in the forest? It's dark. You only have a flashlight. The flashlight dies all the time. You have to collect these pieces of paper all around this forest, and then your screen will get glitchy. The more glitchier it gets, Slenderman's on your tail." It was just like a nice horror game. I believe probably the most memorable because I would like go over a friend's house and just play it, and we'd just try to beat that demo that came out. But then later on, they came out with like a full game with like full 5 levels, so that was really cool too.
Yeah, Slenderman. And of course, it's a good game when it inspires real murders in real life.
Checking those boxes.
Of course.
So that's how you know it's good. Nice.
Can't forget about those.
For my pick, I went with one from my childhood, a game called Nightmare Creatures on the PS1. It was like a third-person action-adventure game, kind of gothic themed, where you chose between two different playable characters, like a male and a female, and then you'd have to go through these levels, and the levels were super creepy because you would hear these sound effects of these monsters, but you wouldn't know where they were at or what they were doing. Like you'd start off a level and you hear, like a chain dragging, and you have no idea what it is until you get to what that enemy is. And then it had those classic kind of survival horror elements of like fixed camera angles and kind of like tacky, hard to control combat. And it also had like some resource components to it. You could find like flintlock pistols that did a lot of damage, but they're very scarce in the levels. So you'd try and save them for like a really tough enemy that you would face. And it almost reminds me, when I was thinking about it, of kind of like what a Souls game is like now, because the whole premise of the game was fighting these really difficult enemies on these really difficult levels. And I remember not having a save option. So if I didn't like beat the game in one run, I'd have to start over.
I mean, that's just classic PlayStation 1, isn't
It's
it?
like the was it like 8 megabyte memory card?
But I do remember they had level codes. After you'd beat a level, it would give you a code, and you could enter the code at the beginning of the game to like skip that level. But yeah, I remember being, as a little kid, just terrified of that game and I would try and get through it so bad, and then sometimes I'd like encounter a monster that looked so hard that I would just stop playing. I just pause the game and just stop. Wouldn't even try and fight him.
That's a PS1 game, so those blocky graphics probably just add on to the horror. Oh, it's an abstract creature.
Blocky, pixelated. Oh my god.
How old are we
Polygonal
talking
horror.
here when you're playing this game?
Yeah, that was a really good one. I remember I bought it from it came out on Nintendo 64 too. That might have been the first time I played it, maybe at like a friend's house, and then I bought it from GameStop, and it didn't have a case, so I got it in just one of those paper cases they give you.
I hate that.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked it a lot. And they made a second one too, and I never played the second one, so when I started making the notes for this episode, I thought I'd look up the second one to see what it was like. And it actually came out on the Sega Dreamcast. And it so much reminded me of Bloodborne just because it had that gothic theme to it. And it, like I said, the enemy variety in it kind of reminds me of like a Souls game now. So Nightmare Creatures, had to walk so Dark Souls could run, and Bloodborne.
Bloodborne.
But yeah, it was interesting. And then I started reading like the first comment on this gameplay for Nightmare Creatures 2 was some guy who worked on the game. And so he told like some background stories on it and like content they had to cut out. They ended up so the first one had 2 playable characters, a guy and a girl, and then the second one only had 1 playable character because they ran out of time, and so video games are such male-dominated hobbies, they cut out the female playable character out of the second one. So yeah, it was interesting to read. But yeah, that'd definitely be my pick if you're looking for a spooky game this season. You just need to find a working PlayStation to play it on. Well, I guess you could emulate it now.
Play it?
Yeah.
Emulate it, yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into how about some games we're currently playing. Jay, have you been playing anything?
I've been doing tabletop games.
That's right. Oh my, I forgot. I made a mental note to introduce you as the X-Wing champion, and I totally forgot to introduce you that way. But yeah, we're sitting with would it be a regional champion?
I am the West Coast World Open regional qualifier champion.
Hell yeah,
X-Wing.
Of Star Wars.
Congratulations,
X-Wing.
man.
Hats off, man.
I asked for the Twitch clips of it, and I watched it for probably like 10 minutes. I had no idea what was going on, even though you've told me about X-Wing before. So all I knew, though, was that it's a tabletop game. And so I was like, let me try and look up, like, how do you play the game, and then go back and watch it. And so I watched, like, a YouTube tutorial. Was still pretty lost, even when I went back after the YouTube tutorial and watched it. But how was it? How was the tournament? What was it like?
Yeah, it was pretty great. People from all over the West Coast came to play. There was about 60 players. From Washington, Oregon, some Arizona even Nevada. Yeah, they're all playing to try to get first place. What is it? Top 4 gets a invite to the Worlds. And first place gets the invite plus a free ride. So like free plane, free hotel at the event. It's going to be at Adepticon, which is a big tabletop/board game convention held in Chicago. And I've been practicing for I'd say like 4 months prior of just getting reps in with like this particular list. I was like, well, I want to try this, try that, come up with strategies. I told my friends in the community, it's like, hey, I need you to run this because I'm probably going to run against this. So I need to figure out how to go against it. And so, yeah, we went up Sequoia Squadron. We went up with about 5 or 6 players. Yeah, 6 players. One of them played Legion. 5 of us played X-Wing. So when I made the account, they use like a website to go and make an account to register and keep track of all your major qualifier entries and whatnot. And since I made it like last minute, it considered me a new player. And so they kind of weed out the new people, so that way they're paired up with like the experienced people. And so the experienced people keep being on top, so you don't have someone that is inexperienced versus like one of the best like around, right? For like the finals. And my first round was against last year's winner, and
Wow.
and that was really intense. But yeah, I pulled through. He thought, well, this guy's a round 1 match. He's going to do some rookie things, and I did a few unpredictable things. Like, wow, okay, I didn't think you'd do that. So sometimes some of the biggest threats could be going against someone you have no idea what's going to happen. Because when you're going to experienced players, it's the idea that, okay, this is the smart move. They're going to do this. When you're going to someone you don't know or someone that is inexperienced, is like, why would you do this? Like, I mean, you're in a better position than me, but why? But it was intense. I was anxious throughout, and made it through 10 rounds. I only lost once. My one loss ended up also being my rematch in the final grand championship. And yeah, I took it. So I won the Revenge of the Swiss, is what they would call it. And I'm going to Chicago.
What a storybook ending.
Nice.
Hey, nice job, Jay.
And for the uninitiated, like all of us here, what would you say X-Wing is? Like, how would you say it's played out if you had to
The
describe
elevator
it?
pitch.
Yeah, it's Star Wars chess without the grid, and you use dice to attack. Each ship is kind of like a chess piece. So like you have some ships that are kind of like a pawn. You have some ships that you treat like a rook and whatever. They all have their different advantages and disadvantages, and it's an open grid where you just try to move around and take out the other team.
Yeah, and what was confusing me was it looked like you guys would roll dice, but then choose not to roll some dice.
So there's you roll to see who goes first, so that's like the initiative, and then you'd go. There's certain mechanics you could use to change your dice or re-roll your dice, and there's options where sometimes spending a resource to roll or re-roll or do certain things is not opportune at the time because your opponent could capitalize on it. So there's a lot of kind of like mind games and do I play defensively or do I go full aggro here kind of thing. So
Okay.
it's identifying the situation. So
when is the tournament in Chicago?
Adepticon is going to be mid-March. So that's going to be in Chicago. It's a soft opening on Wednesday, but goes from Thursday to Sunday. So I don't know if I'm going to be there Wednesday day of. I think maybe. But yeah, it's more or less a 4 or 5 day trip to Chicago.
Nice,
To
man.
Chicago,
Are you still getting your reps in? Are you practicing for that now?
Nah, that's like a half year away, man. I'm flying what we call like a jank tank right now. So I'm just putting a bunch of mishmash hodgepodge of stuff that I know is not good. I'm just having fun. I'm just taking the victory lap until I have to go back out.
That's a good plan, so you don't get burnt out on.
Yeah, I don't need that. Plus, if I go 0-5 day one, I have the whole weekend to spend in Chicago doing whatever I want.
Just chillax.
So if you
chill.
do
Like, all
win
right,
that-
I didn't make it to the top. I can do whatever I want. Time to see the bean.
Jay's playing the long con here. He's trying to get a free trip to
Hey,
Chicago.
they don't know we're sitting next to the Western Regional X-Wing champion, huh? So what does that look like if you do win? What would you be considered? Are you like world champion?
I think if I win, because it's worlds is what it is. So there's people from Australia, from Germany. Last year I think it was an Italian player that won. Half of the top 8 for worlds last year weren't even from like North America. They're like all over.
Wow.
The winner, I think his name was actually Nicholas God. Was like his actual name, which was kind of intimidating. But yeah, I
he
think
definitely
if you,
changed his name to that.
No, I think if you win first, you get the plane ride back. I think that's how that works. They're like, all right, you were paid for your one-way trip there. Now you losers walk back home. You know, like.
The only experience I have is watching like Major League Gaming and video game tournaments, and those can be pretty toxic. How would you rate people's sportsmanship at these?
Dude, we're all 30-year-old guys playing with plastic spaceships, making them go pew-pew. We're all mostly mature. I'd say like 95% of everyone I played is like mature and pretty level-headed.
Last year's champion wasn't salty that he got dethroned by what he thought was a new player.
No, he was pretty cool, pretty humble. Everyone I did play day one, you get invited to play day two depending on how well you did. Everyone I played day one did go to day two. So my strength of schedule, which is like how strong your opponents were, was like ridiculous compared to everyone. Yeah. Because some people, they got paired against like people who went like 0-5 or 1-4. And everyone I played against was like 3-2. So like I was like one of their only losses. So I was like,
I'm sorry I forgot to introduce you that way.
No, it's good.
Just asking
We
about it, too,
have
before
plenty
we
of other
started.
guests here to talk about.
Yeah, so just tabletop games then for now.
Yeah.
How about you, Fabian? What have you been playing lately?
But I will say, Jay did let me play some X-Wing, and it's a really fun game. So I highly suggest if anyone's curious about it to try it out because it's really fun, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. It's like Jay said, it's like a chess, but with Star Wars. It's really cool. For games I'm currently playing right now, I am playing Overwatch 2 as of right now. Which
Nice. You get that Lilith skin?
no, not yet. I haven't fired it up recently, but that's the most recent game I played. I recently got into competitive. For the most part, I've just been playing like quick play, quick matches and everything. And dude, it's a whole different game when you go into competitive because your own teammates are the most toxic people you'll ever play with. It is so ridiculous. It's
I
toxic.
enjoyed competitive more than I did quick play in Overwatch.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not enjoy competitive because
I mean, it could get pretty toxic at times, but I think it's more of like the skill-based matchmaking I enjoyed more in competitive. I feel like I got steamrolled more often in quick play than I did in competitive games.
Really? See, for me, it was the opposite. I felt like I was doing really good in quick play, and then when I got to competitive, I was getting steamrolled. And my teammates will let me know that I was getting steamrolled. It was awful. I would expect like the other team to be trash talking more. It was just more your teammates trash talking you.
Yeah.
And it's mostly the support players. I'm like, dude, just calm down. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've got about 1,000 hours of Overwatch 1, I guess Overwatch 2, not as much, but yeah, I could talk all
Overwatch
day about how much
1.5.
I hate Overwatch now after playing so long. But yeah, man, the toxicity in that community is insane. And you talk about your teammates, giving it to you. I was definitely one of those teammates in multiple occasions.
You're the people.
Is it?
I think it's so frustrating because, it's a team-based game, right? But you have teammates who either don't have microphones or aren't like in the voice comm. Like, how are you supposed to play an objective 6v6 or now 5v5 game when you don't have people participating? And it's just so infuriating. Like I said, I could talk all day, but what were you gonna say, Jay?
I feel like everyone individually thinks they're that person whose back is hurting from carrying the team. I feel like that's the entire team. Everyone just has a broken back.
Yeah. Well,
and we're all just cranky, yelling at each other because our back's hurting.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
And still losing.
You can be so punished by one player who is better. Like the skill-based matchmaking is a thing, but you could have one player, usually a DPS player, who would dominate the lobby and they're unstoppable. So I would originally play tank and DPS for a little bit, but talking about the support players, flaming you or whatever. Like when you play support, there's like you are just trying to heal so much. When you have one person who's coming to kill you and you can't heal the team, everyone's giving you, crap because you're not healing the team. But if you're not getting supported or, the word I guess is peeled, like they're not coming back to help you. You're in for a long day basically. And
I don't know when the last time you played comp was, Alex, but they changed a lot as far as being able to like communicate without a mic now. Like they have like the ping system now and stuff where you can ping players and ping objectives. And,
yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of success playing competitive, and I was always on mic, but most of my teammates wouldn't be. But most people were using pings pretty consistently, and we were able to coordinate that way. So I was able to get into gold as tank, and I think I got silver for DPS and maybe silver for support too. So pretty low. Low average ranks, but
yeah, I guess I'm just so bitter after, like I said, literally like 1,000 hours. I just don't even have any desire to boot the game up. I've uninstalled it. Like I couldn't tell you how many 5-6 times. I swear I've uninstalled that game so many times. So, but I hope you enjoy it, Fabian. I don't know. It seems like that's the game you're playing.
I mean, like it's a good time killer, but like since I started competitive, probably like a couple of weeks ago, I don't think I've won any game in competitive mode. I've just been winning the quick plays.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the.
So you haven't got a placement yet for any of the roles?
Not that I'm aware of, because I keep losing, and I've been just maining like DPS because DPS is like probably like the most fun thing to choose.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what's your main? Who's your main?
Yeah. My main for DPS, I kind of like Ashe. I think she's pretty cool with her little
she's
dynamite.
Top tier.
And
she's a good character, good DPS.
Her dynamite and her aim down sight damage is pretty nice. But that's who I've been maining for DPS.
Yeah, now that there's only one tank is definitely the make or break for your team.
Yeah.
If you got a good tank, you'll win. If you don't, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, that's definitely the deal breaker. If the tank is just not doing their job of like surviving and just like, getting all the fire, then you're going to struggle.
That's hard, man. I mean, you're trying to take so much damage. Like before it was like you needed a Reinhardt to win. And now it's like Reinhardt's not even, I mean, I don't play as often anymore, but it's like his shield isn't as good. Like he used to have like 2,000 shield points, right? Or whatever, shield health, and now it's like 1,600. It's like that thing's getting bursted, man. You got a Bastion, you got, like an Ashe.
When I was playing, I was still playing Reinhardt as my main for comp. And I mean, he's still, I mean, no other tanks can absorb like him still, even with the nerfs to his wall. And for pushing, he's still, I think, one of the best ones.
Yeah, they gave him the extra fire strike.
That helped out a lot too. So you can be a lot more aggressive. I haven't played since the last 2 seasons though.
The main tank everyone plays right now is Orisa, because Orisa can just tank damage for days. You cannot kill Orisa.
She's been the GOAT. since she joined Overwatch, she's been the GOAT of tanks. They've tried to nerf her, and she still seems to be the most played one.
They try to nerf her, and then they come out with the new patch, and she's buffed again. They do the opposite.
Yeah, I mained Orisa for a good while. It was a good time back in Overwatch 1. But
yeah, and what about you, Alex? And what have you been playing?
I think same games as the last time I was on. Still playing Marvel Snap. They got a pretty good like anniversary event going on right now.
Oh, right on. What's going on?
I think it's the 1-year anniversary, so they're doing where if you watch like Twitch streams of different creators, you can get rewards, skins, and in-game content,
drops and all that.
Yeah. Also,
how do you get the stuff from watching the streams?
I'm sorry, what?
How do you get the stuff from watching the streams? Do the streamers just hand out codes or what?
No. If you connect your Marvel Snap account to your Twitch account, if you watch X amount of hours, it calculates it and then it gets sent to your account.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
Yeah, I pulled a Black Knight from my last cache.
No way, man! That's awesome. Yeah, that's the new card they got. For those of you who don't play Marvel Snap.
So I don't play Marvel Snap. Can you run me down like what is Marvel Snap and like the gist of it?
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin. This is your game. You introduced me to.
No, I was gonna say no, but yeah, it's a card collecting game. I know you've played Hearthstone before, so it's more similar to Gwent. I don't know if you ever played that one, but you have 3 different lanes that you're trying to win, and you have to win at least 2 out of the 3. So you place cards on a lane, and the cards have a mana cost and a power. And then so you're trying to get the most power on that lane to win it. And then obviously there's different abilities each card has. And so all the cards are based off of Marvel superheroes. And each card has unique abilities and stuff like that and synergies that you can make with other cards. So you try to build decks around those synergies.
It kind of sounds like a League of Legends, but with Marvel?
Well, it's a card collecting game. You don't actually trade cards. But yeah, so not quite like League of Legends, but more like more like Hearthstone or Gwent if you've played either of those. But it's super accessible. Like it's a mobile game, and you can play on PC now too.
Yeah.
But the games are super short. I mean, a quick game will last maybe a couple minutes, and then a long game that goes the full time. Or you can extend turns too with some cards, and so. If you add, 1 or 2 extra turns, then maybe you're pushing like 5 minutes. But the games are super short, so it's really easy to kind of play on the go and kind of play whenever you want. And so, yeah, it's super addicting, super fun. And obviously it's a lot of fun collecting the cards if you're into Marvel superheroes because they have all different kinds of variants and artwork and things like that. So
yeah. Speaking of decks, it's or synergy rather. You said you create decks. I think it's a 12-card deck that you're trying to play cards to, work well together to get the most power on that specific lane. And I remember the first time I was on the podcast, I would talk about, I knew people were doing certain decks and I didn't know how to stop it, right? And you try to counter it some way. Like you mentioned with X-Wing, you just play things to see if they work. And it's a lot of like you don't know what your opponent's deck is, right? Until they start playing 2 or 3 cards, and then you're like, okay, I can either try to win this or you can't. And you have the ability to end the game early to basically like retreat, or like if you're thinking of like Pokemon, like running away from a Pokemon kind of thing, like running away from this game.
Like
and,
fold.
The reward system for the game, they're called cubes. So you get up to as many 8 cubes in the match. So if you escape early, you minimize the amount of cubes you lose, and how many cubes you have determines your overall rank out of 100. So,
but yeah, if you want a real in-depth analysis, Fabian, go listen to episodes 1, 2, and 3 of this podcast where we talk about it.
Yeah. Yo, are you throwing in the plug in your own podcast for your own podcast?
Yeah. You and Bogey.
That's some marketing there.
So. Yeah. I introduced you, Fabian, as a longtime listener. You don't even know what we talked about in the first 3 episodes of this podcast.
I was just thinking that, like, damn, hyped me up, and then I just shot myself down.
It's all good, man. But yeah, Marvel Snap's a lot of fun. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Beside Marvel Snap, the only other game I'm playing right now is Valorant.
Mm.
Sometimes that game is very I mean, not sometimes. That game is long. When you talk about Marvel Snap being 4 or 5 minute games, Valorant games are like 45 minutes, man. And it
'Cause
kind of
it's,
reminds me of. Sorry, what? Go ahead, Fabian.
I would say because the matches are best of like 13, right? The first team to go to like get to 13 points.
First team
Best
to
of
13.
13?
Yeah.
So it's
Are these
basically
1-minute
13,
games?
13 rounds of basically search and destroy. Literally just search and destroy.
What?
Maps are very small and the characters have abilities like Overwatch. But it's just a first person shooter. So aim is like the most important thing in that game because just one shot headshot and you're sitting out for the next 2 minutes. So sometimes that game does get a little stale because if you die early then and you're not focused, like there's plenty of times where I'm like, oh, I died, I'm gonna just pick up my phone and scroll Instagram or whatever, TikTok for the next minute and a half before I can actually play again. But sometimes you just kind of lock in and be like, hey man, like I just got to be focused on my team or try to give them and help them give call outs, but I gave up Overwatch for Valorant, I guess.
Yeah. That explains why I've never seen any dads on Valorant, man. That's 45 minutes. That's our whole session right
Yeah.
there. That's all we get.
That's the thing
For the
too,
week.
if you get disconnected, right? You get first off you get a warning or you'll get like a queue ban where you can't even play. You won't be able to play competitive because you left the game. So it's pretty like the penalized factor is pretty real there.
Yeah. I played my fair share of Valorant because when I first got my laptop, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to transition to a PC player, and I've heard Valorant was kind of big at the time,
Yeah.
and so I tried it out, and it was cool in the beginning. But then, like you said, when you get disconnected, even if it's not your fault, it's just your
Yep.
internet's is bad or just something happens where you get disconnected, you are punished horribly.
Yeah, no
And
ability to rejoin games either.
yeah, and so when that happens constantly, like it's like you get disconnected just because your internet sucks, like mine does. They punish you like harsher and harsher.
Yeah.
I remember I wasn't able to play a game for like 3 hours. They banned me for like 3 hours. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah,
This is cool.
I got a 24-hour ban one day and I was like, the thing that they definitely get you on. So say if you leave a game or whatever, and then you log in the next day or a couple days later, right when you log on and you go to queue, that's when they hit you with the ban. So it wasn't 24 hours from whenever you stopped playing. It's from when you wanted to start the next game.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
gotcha. That's for
24
sure, man.
hours. So what did you have to do? Did you go outside?
Yeah, I touched grass,
But anyways, I've been playing Starfield. I reviewed it in the last episode, so I won't talk about it in too much detail. But I have been enjoying it a lot. I rated it probably the highest out of me and my two other friends that played it. And at the time when I reviewed it, I was just kind of trying to just speed run the campaign and play as much of the campaign as possible, the main quest. And now that I'm not reviewing it, I enjoy it a lot more, that I get to do other things and explore other parts of the game. So I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it did have pretty positive reviews up until like last week, and then I think it started to kind of have a downward trend. But it's still pretty successful. I think this month it was like the highest selling game, which is pretty impressive since it's on Game Pass, so people can play it with a subscription to Game Pass. And so to still be the highest selling game of that month, I'm assuming most of those sales were on PC then. And then other than that, I thought about trying to play like a scary game for October, but I couldn't
Find your PS1.
Couldn't find my PS1, to play Nightmare Creatures.
I have one, a PS1.
Oh yeah, you still have yours?
Yeah, I actually got it from my grandma's house.
Oh, nice.
That was the first time I ever played a PS1 was at my grandma's house, and I went over
Your
there.
grandma was a gamer, bro?
Yeah, I don't know if they got it for
Right
me
on.
or why they had it, but
It was supposed to be a Christmas gift, and they just forgot to give it to you.
so yeah,
You were bad that
Brand
year,
happy
so they
took
just
it
put it
out,
away
and
and
like it.
never gave it to you.
Yeah, so I got it sitting up in the closet. Haven't dusted it out in a while, but I like to keep my consoles. I've got my 360.
Do you have controllers for it, the PS1?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, nice. Everything? You got memory cards and everything too?
I don't think I have a memory card now, but and the thing though is it's still if you played PS1, you definitely know it. didn't have no HDMI back then. It was the analog red, yellow, white cord.
Yeah.
So I gotta find
And
an
they don't-
adapter to
I was
HDMI.
gonna say, they
or
don't make
something.
TV. They don't make TVs like that no more.
Yeah, they don't make those.
You gotta bring out the old box TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, so I just couldn't pull myself away from Starfield. It's such a long game, and so I've just been playing that mostly. And
I'll just set the lighting all the way to dark. There you go. Make it scary.
Yeah, I mean it does have some cosmic horror in there, I'm sure, on some of the planets that you explore. But other than that, though, I did dabble into Diablo 4 Season 2, so I guess you could count that as a spooky game since the theme is vampires for this season.
All right.
We'll see.
Sexy.
It seems the last season was pretty boring. So I played Diablo 4. Actually, that was the first game I reviewed in one of my episodes, and the base game was really good. I liked it a lot. Season 1 was pretty disappointing. Only got to about level 20, and the max level is 100. And the season mechanic was just kind of lame and wasn't very interesting to keep me playing. So this one seems to be a little bit more promising. The storyline is vampires have taken over Sanctuary, the world that Diablo 4 takes place in, and you're infected by a vampire, but you don't turn fully into one. So you get some seasonal powers that are vampire related. So that seems pretty interesting. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm not very far in. I mean, maybe a couple hours into the season. So I just created a new character. So with those games, with action RPG games and the seasons, you have to create a new character every season. So that was also a big complaint when the game first came out. Was
You gotta make a new one every season?
every season? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I wish. I mean, I didn't care because I had played action RPGs like Diablo 3 and Path of Exile, so I knew that's what the seasons were going to be like. But a lot of people complained about that because they played the game when it released and spent so much time leveling their character, and then a new season started and they had to start a new character. And a lot of people, other than the people who stream the game, weren't in the end game yet. I wish almost like there was maybe if you didn't get that far in a season, you could just continue playing the character you were last season, because I only got to
like
level
log the season or something, right?
Yeah, because I only got to level 20 last season with Druid, and I played through the game as Necromancer originally and got to level 50, and then Season 1 came out and I started a Druid, and now Season 2's out, so I have to make a new character to play that season. So
How often do these seasons come up? Are they bi-monthly, monthly, quarterly?
no, so they usually are, I think, quarterly, yearly.
Okay.
So a season's going to be about 4 months long.
Dang. I don't know if it'd be a month or not. Because for April, starting April 1st, could we get a cow season?
Yeah, people are still looking for that cow level in Diablo 4. No one's found it yet.
Don't believe the developers.
Yeah, the
They just
developers
hit
have
it
come out
well.
and say there's no cow level. Please stop searching. But people are still committed to it, still trying to find
It's
it.
in the code.
And honestly, I believe it. I don't think the developers didn't put one in there. I feel like there is a secret cow level somewhere in Diablo 4. But yeah, so I played that a little bit. I decided to go barbarian for this run, and I'm already regretting it. Just because I feel like, I don't know, I played last season as a druid because the season mechanic was like this infection that was taking over and rotting things. So I felt like, oh, druid, that's cool. They
So
save,
you're trying to RP it a
they
bit.
save nature. I'll play druid, and then I
Tree
chose
hugger nerd. Now you're just a big, dumb, strong guy.
Yeah, and so for this season, I was like, I really want to play Barbarian, so I picked Barbarian, and then I'm thinking I probably should have picked maybe a rogue or a sorcerer. It seems more vampire-like than a barbarian, but we'll see how it goes. I'm still early enough, like I said, I could probably easily just create a new character at this point.
A lot of vampires in films and stuff, they're always featured as slender, nimble creatures. Could you imagine a muscle-bound vampire, just extremely bulging and buff?
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, that reminds me of Redfall, that really bad game that came out on Xbox this year, which I was also going to try and review that one, but it was so bad that I didn't feel like I could add anything worth value to
Are
it.
you going to squeeze in Kong?
That one just came out, right?
Yeah.
The Kong Skull Island game.
Yeah!
I'm not going to. I was scrolling YouTube and saw a review for it. I think it was IGN's review. Gave it a 3 out of 10. Pretty rough score for a
It
game.
was bad. It was awful.
I watched a like reel of it. Yeah, it looked like kind of looked like a PS3 kind of early generation game.
PS3 is being
rough.
generous, my guy.
It looked pretty rough.
PS2, PS1.
They recently announced that they gave us a year. They were like, all right, day one, work on it. It's got to be out by this day. And then they just gave it like some time, and they're like, they worked from the ground up too, and they're only given a year to release from day one to start. And this is what we got: a video game where they replace some cutscenes with screenshots.
That reminds me of what is it? The worst game ever made, the ET game on Atari, I believe. I think had a similar story where the guy was hired to make the game and was told like you need to release it.
Yeah,
it was less
2
than
weeks.
A year. Yeah, 2 weeks.
He had 2 weeks to push out a game.
And so he makes this ET game, and it goes down in history as the worst game ever made.
It has its defenders though. Like, interestingly, there's like, oh no, like once you figure out what the heck's going on, like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, does it?
Most Atari games are just bad in general. Like most games that came out back then were just bad.
Does the sprite look general enough to be what we're trying to advertise?
Yeah.
Excellent. Push it.
Yeah. But anyways, what I was saying about Redfall was they had a vampire in there called the Rook, and he was like a very strong buff vampire that would chase you around, kind of like a tank from Left 4 Dead kind of feel to him.
Dang, we need more of those.
But yeah. But Redfall was a tragedy, so we won't speak too much on that. But yeah, all right.
Marvel Snap.
Oh, I have been playing Marvel Snap, but I've talked about it so much on previous episodes, I usually don't bring it up. But like I said, I got the Black Knight, which is the newest card that came out. I just happened to be at the collector's cache right when it came out, and so I hit the collector's cache and I pulled a Black Knight from it.
Nice.
Which is, I usually pull the new cards because I've been playing for so long. I have most cards.
Yeah.
So usually when a new card is released, I usually have a pretty high chance of pulling it off the collector's cache, which is nice now because honestly, I was going to stop playing because I don't pay for the season pass. So I'm always behind the curve because I don't get the cards that you get just from buying the season pass.
Yeah.
So I spend the whole season trying to think of these decks that can counter what the current meta is and then try and play that way. So it was cool that I got Black Knight. Sadly, he's not very good, but it's been fun trying to play him and use him in decks.
Yeah.
It's a trap!
Let's get into some news stories. I added this first story because I felt like I had to talk about it because last time Alex was on, we talked about this extensively when the FTC trial and Xbox trying to acquire Activision. It's finally gone through, so it's official now. Xbox and Microsoft now own Activision and Blizzard. Purchased it for $69, not million, but $69 billion. So that's 69 followed by 9 zeros. Is how much they paid for Activision and Blizzard. And obviously as a Xbox fanboy, I'm super stoked because now that means I'm going to have a lot more games on Game Pass.
My overlord controls more property. I win.
The sun never
But I
sets.
did want to ask, I did have some questions that I thought of, and I thought maybe having, obviously Jordan doesn't have too much skin in the game. Alex is, although he's on PC, he's by de facto a fellow Microsoft fanboy with me. But Fabian, as a Sony jabroni, and now Microsoft owning Blizzard, which you're a pretty big Blizzard fan, I feel like. You played a lot of Hearthstone, you play a lot of Overwatch. Do you think this... and you play a lot of Call of Duty, and Call of Duty 2 is part of that acquisition. Not that I think it's going exclusive to Xbox, but... Does that make you any weary of being playing on the PlayStation now that Xbox owns Blizzard and Activision?
Not at the moment. Like, I just feel like Xbox and Microsoft are just so behind on the game, and this step kind of, brings them closer to Sony. I still believe that Sony is way ahead of the game of Microsoft, but this move by Microsoft acquiring Blizzard and Activision probably puts them, in the sights of being on Sony's level. But do I fear that Microsoft might, overtake Sony? Probably not. I think Sony still's got this. PlayStation 5 or PlayStation in general just has better exclusives. Um, and I think Sony is just a better console in general. But we'll see where this goes. Acquiring Activision and Blizzard. Yeah, and like you said, I am a big Hearthstone fan. I still play it on my phone, like mostly every day. Playing Overwatch when I can. Really dabble in Call of Duty anymore. Like Call of Duty kind of died for me because it was just so repetitive, the same thing. They couldn't.
Yeah.
Bro, you could be Nicki Minaj now.
Yeah. What do you mean it's the same thing, dude? You could be
Yeah.
21 Savage.
You could be Baby Groot.
Yeah, I got to get all those skins and put on my
Call of
player.
Duty's almost reaching like the Fortnite
I was about to say, yeah,
IPs. Like pretty soon you're going to be able to be like Vegeta and I don't even know, Geralt.
Oh, there's anime in there. There's
Yeah,
anime.
they
They
just
added
added an anime.
Helsing.
Helsing, yeah.
Yeah, Alucard from Helsing Ultimate.
Yeah, so yeah, they do have anime characters now, so yeah, it's getting pretty ridiculous. I remember when it was just Call of Duty was known for being a realistic shooter,
Yeah.
realistic modern
And even-
warfare game.
And even when it was very tame. Like it was like I don't know what rapper it was, but it was like the character looked like that rapper, like 50 Cent or something. What was it?
Snoop
Like-
Dogg was in there.
Sorry, who?
I think Snoop Dogg, right? Snoop Dogg
I
was
don't
in it.
remember, but this is
I know
maybe
he
like
was like an operator.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, they had an operator that looked like some rapper. I can't remember what it was, but now I haven't
Yeah.
played Call of Duty in so long either. They've gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
Might have been Ice Cube.
Maybe I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
So yeah, you don't think it's swaying anyone then?
No, I don't think so.
I thought maybe some casual gamers it would sway, definitely. So I feel like casual Call of Duty fans, it's definitely going to sway if they were playing on a PlayStation. I think maybe not right now, but for the next console generation, I think they'll consider buying an Xbox now if they're
Yeah.
solely playing like Call of Duty on a PlayStation.
Well, you gotta look at it in a business perspective. Call of Duty is too big of a franchise to keep on one console, in my opinion. You're just going to make a lot more money if you just sell it across like all the consoles.
Yeah.
It's not one that you could see about squeezing into one device. One kind of company I could say you could do that with, Bethesda. I think Bethesda, it's not as high selling of every year as like Call of Duty. It certainly has its fans, but certainly I feel like could be a teeter point to get people to be like, yo, I really like, I want Skyrim for the 5th time. I need it. I need it, please.
Yeah.
And so that might sway someone to get the Xbox, whatever comes out next. I don't know what's after.
Yeah. Yeah, funny you mentioned Bethesda because when you were saying like, Sony has the better exclusives, I definitely agree that PlayStation has the better exclusives right
Yeah.
now, but I don't know if it's going to stay that way forever with Microsoft acquiring so many different
Yeah.
game developers.
But then you have to-
Bethesda
you have
was
to
a big one to get, and now, Starfield has come out and gotten mostly positive reviews, but it still sold 100 million copies outside of Game Pass, and I think now that they have Blizzard and Activision, maybe not the current games, but I think future titles that they make might end up being exclusive to Xbox.
But then you have to see what Sony would do, because then when Sony sees this,
Yeah.
they're probably not just going to be like, "Oh yeah, it's whatever." They're probably thinking of another plan to try to up their game more. And so
I know how Sony's going to win the console war. They're going to buy Valve and they're going to release Half-Life 3 exclusively for the next PlayStation. The world will go nuts. They're like, what?
But yeah, so I'm excited. Hopefully we'll get some cool games coming to Game Pass. I'm excited for maybe like old IPs that come back. I think there's a lot of games under the Activision and Blizzard umbrella that we don't really see anymore. I remember Alex, I think maybe the last episode you were on, we talked about Fusion Frenzy.
Yeah,
I believe that's an Activision title, and that was a popular one on the original Xbox. So that would be fun to have it make a comeback on the Xbox, maybe on the Game Pass. Even
Yeah,
the
Xbox-
original or a new updated version of the
Xbox
game.
can use some party games.
Yeah, and what else was there? Tony Hawk, I believe, Neversoft.
Pinata.
I think that's part of Activision too now.
Yeah.
So yeah, to get the Tony Hawk games, I know they just remade 1 and 2 not that long ago. So hopefully we'll see those come to Game Pass.
Received a lot better than 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think Call of Duty will ever be exclusive. But I definitely think it'll eventually start coming to Game Pass, and I think that's going to be a big deal once you could. Because I mean, people like me and Fabian who don't play Call of Duty anymore consistently. I mean, I would play Call of Duty if it was on Game Pass. I'd play through the campaign and maybe dabble in the multiplayer if it was already a part of my game subscription.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They could go the skins route too, because they're getting pretty extravagant with the skins, like we were just talking about. So like maybe they could do a Master Chief skin for like someone, or some sort of cool Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
Exclusive
that
skins.
happening. That would be pretty dope.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll be exclusive, but I definitely think they're going to start making exclusive content
Yeah,
for
I can
Xbox
see
players. And even, I mean, Sony was doing this with Call of Duty before, that there was things on PlayStation and Call of Duty, like maps and things like that were only for PlayStation players.
Yeah, they had the time exclusivity thing going on.
Time exclusivity, yeah, that's what it's called. And so that's definitely going to happen now for Xbox. They're going to use that to their advantage. But yeah, Phil Spencer even said, I think in the FTC trial, that he was not going to make it exclusive. That was kind of his big moment, taking the stand and making that statement was part of why they won their trial.
Yeah, didn't we talk about, he said, I'm going to do everything in my power, or he was
Yeah.
vague. It was very
Yeah, I
vague,
did
right?
think it was a little ambiguous,
Yeah.
his statement, but I'm sure there's going to be lots of things that they said in that trial that they're probably going to find lawyers to work around and what they actually have to do. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of Xbox. I think I don't know if this will be the momentum swing to sell more Xbox consoles, but I think it's going to win over a few people, especially hardcore Call of Duty fans.
I still don't think so. I think Sony has this game way ahead. I think this puts Microsoft in the rearview mirror, but I don't think they would catch up anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're struggling behind the Switch, so they got to get ahead of them first. This next news story I just found last night, and I was super interested in it because last time I had Jordan on, we talked about a rumor of a Dead by Daylight movie. I don't think it's a rumor. I think it is confirmed that Blumhouse is working on it. Mm. But then I found this article now that Netflix is working on a BioShock film, an adaptation of the BioShock games.
I have heard
God,
that too,
that's been in the talks for probably since the game came out, my guy. But yeah, it's never landed anywhere, but it's taking it up, that's right.
Yeah, and they said in the article, they are super excited about it. They're investing a lot of money into it, and they want to see it come to fruition.
I mean, that could literally be said about any project Netflix has done. Like, there's what is
a lot of money to Netflix, Like,
well, I'm so surprised how well off of a hit the One Piece show was and how loved it is. Because it could have gone horribly. What is it? Although it has its fans,
could have had a Cowboy Bebop.
Not even that one. What was it? Death Note.
Yeah,
nobody talks about Death Note anymore.
That was also a bad one. Yeah.
I don't know where they'll approach the story. I kind of gave up on the idea about wanting to get a movie for that, just because I know my expectations are going to be way too high. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Are they going to go delve into the horror aspect of it? Are they going to try to create a nice story that seems very emotional, like an attachment for like a main character? But even then, are they going to detach too much from like the world of BioShock and just focus on like that? A lot could go wrong. I am pretty pessimistic about it, but I mean, if it comes out, I'll give it a watch.
Do you think they should go movie route or show route?
If it's a show, it's going to have reoccurring characters. It's got to focus on a long developed story. A show could be okay.
Yeah, that is true. I guess they would have to do movies because
a movie more or less to the point.
Each game is different characters, so
yeah. So unless we're going to figure out about this one guy and I don't know, maybe his daughter just trying to survive through Rapture and them not trying to take her to turn her to like a big sister or some crazy thing like that. Oh my gosh! I hope no one's listening in Hollywood trying to write down because no one's written the story for this yet.
Alex, Fabian, have either of you guys played any of the BioShock titles?
No, never.
Definitely recommend them.
Uncultured.
I can't remember which one I played. I think I played Infinite, but I remember playing one game. I can't remember which one.
Would you want, Jordan, an adaptation of the video games, or would you want an original story?
An original story would be great. It really has got to get the world down right, because it is very decrepit, just kind of falling apart. There's horror, but there's not just all bleak throughout, because we've seen worlds like what is it? The floral area. Man, I'm forgetting every portion of it. There's the world Prometheus. Yeah, I forget. They're all named after Greek and Roman stuff, but there are certain segments of it, and it's just really got to get the feel down, and because BioShock certainly had like a presence to it when you're in there.
Yeah,
it's the first game especially. You're this little fish in this big ocean of like horrors and stuff, and you got to try to get out of it.
Yeah, when I was reading this article and thinking about different approaches they could take, I was kind of thinking a kind of prequel to the games would be interesting to go over the fall of Atlas not Atlas. It was
Andrew Ryan.
Yeah, Andrew Ryan. Atlas is the name of the book that it was loosely.
But
based
Atlas
off
is
of.
Also the guy who helps you in the first game.
Oh, okay. I was like,
he's the pseudonym for someone else. But
yeah, and so Rapture is the name of the city. So I think a prequel to the kind of rise to Rapture before the events of BioShock 1
that's
would be
certainly going to have to lay privy to like how strong of a performance and like your lead is. Like you need a strong Andrew Ryan.
Yeah.
Which I've never thought of who could be Andrew Ryan. Off the top of my head, I don't know, maybe J. Jonah Jamin, the guy who does J.K. Simmons. Yeah, there we go. Maybe J.K. Simmons be Andrew Ryan. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Everyone's fan cast for the pro tag of the first game, Jack, for some reason has been Chris Evans. Yeah. And I could tie it down to exactly the moment everyone started deciding that. Is because that Knives Out movie came out and he wears that kind of bone like colored sweater thing that like Jack wears. And everyone's like, "Hey, have you guys just thought maybe he could play Jack?" It was like, "Cuz he's wearing a sweater. That's the only reason why you guys think that."
Yeah, I honestly have no idea what Jack is even like. I don't even remember him having dialogue.
We don't see his face. He doesn't have. He has one line of dialogue at the start of the game.
Yeah,
and he doesn't speak at all after that.
So it would literally anyone could play that role in my mind.
Yeah, blue jeans, a long sweater.
Yeah, I think though with the success of The Last of Us, I feel like they would go the TV show route, or if they did a movie, they would try and do kind of like a 1-to-1 replica of the games. That's kind of what Last of Us was trying to do, and it was really successful.
Yeah, but Last of Us is certainly a survival where it's carried by like the story of its characters getting pushed through, like a struggle. Yeah. BioShock, it's kind of a fetch quest.
Yeah.
go do this. You need to escape. Go here. Go there. I mean, there's not a lot of emotional weight to Jack's character,
Yeah.
It certainly was the forefront in Last of Us for Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the hard thing, I think, when you adapt, because I would consider BioShock a bit of a survival horror game.
No, it certainly is.
And that's always a struggle, I feel like, with movies and TV shows when they try and adapt those survival horror games. A lot of the reasons why we enjoy the survival horror game isn't necessarily the story, but like you were saying, the atmosphere and the feel of the game. That's hard to kind of recapture in a movie and TV show. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'll definitely, good or bad, I will watch it. Just because I love BioShock.
Same here. Reluctant or not, same here.
Yeah. And Fabian, Alex, you guys go play BioShock. I mean, you could buy I think all three now, like a updated version.
Yeah, they're all probably like $20, $15 or something.
I remember, I think like 2017, I bought the remasters for 1 and 2 and 3. I think they sold it in a whole bundle and bought that and played through them again.
Yeah, I know it's a good game. I've been waiting to try to play it, but like I said, I remember I played one game, but I just don't remember which one, and I enjoyed it a lot.
I would assume then it was Infinite if you don't remember it then. Probably the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
But a lot of fun. I would do like Infinite a lot, though. I'm not saying Infinite's bad, but definitely more memorable times than 1 and 2.
I was going to say, with the success of Last of Us, I feel like they would probably go like the series route instead of the movie route, because that's how you get more viewers. With each episode ending, you can always leave it off at a cliffhanger. And that way you get more people, interested more. As with the movie, it's kind of like one and done. So in this way, in a series, you'll get more viewership.
But I mean, there's so many other shows too that were just complete failures. I think of like The Witcher on Netflix.
Even good shows that get canceled.
Yeah, I could see BioShock being like a one season show if they tried to do it and it didn't go well. And then
I certainly can too.
Scrap it and move on, and that would be depressing. Last story here. The only spooky story we found. So I messaged you guys to add any spooky stories you could find for Halloween, and I couldn't find any. Someone added one. It was Alex added a story on here. TikTok top 10 scariest movies of all time according to science is the name of
I'm ready to be
I haven't watched it yet. I didn't click on the
reviewer on this. There is one I heard that is quote unquote scientifically the scariest movie, and I kind of understand the science behind it. So I want to see if that movie I've heard is number one on there.
Yeah, we could link this video in the description for anybody to watch.
I was going to try and just pull it up right here, but let me see here.
Okay, you've seen this, Alex?
Yeah, I've seen it one time.
Okay. Don't tell me if I'm right, but
so I think we're going to do a live reaction right now.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead. All right, so let's go ahead and throw our bets. What do we think is number one?
Number one, I'm going to say is The Ring.
Okay.
For me, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called like Terrifier, I believe.
Terrifier? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I do know what movie you're talking about. It's like an indie horror film.
Yeah, indie horror film with that killer clown.
I think they're coming out with a second one, though.
They already did, I think so. I think the second one's already out.
I think it's going to be, I think it's called Sinister. The one where like the guy finds like the camera thing and like there's a bunch of family recordings of kids killing their families.
That is actually a really good horror movie. I love that.
I think because like if I remember the study I looked at, that was rated number one on there.
All right, let me pull. I gotta pull it up here.
Whoa! Oh, you pulled it up. All right, sorry, I had it up too. It just started automatically playing. So let me exit out of mine.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, still going. Whew. All right, I got it off now. All right, so here we go. Live reaction here.
All right.
Oh, wait, Alex, did you get a... Hold on, pause it. Did you make a pick, Alex, for what you think? Oh, wait, you already seen it.
You've already seen the video.
All right.
All right, let's see here. Can barely hear it.
Oh, can you guys not hear it?
Barely.
Barely.
It's low.
Let's see.
I guess we don't have to hear
placement.
it. Yeah, I was going to say, I guess we don't have to hear it, technically.
Let's see if I
Just as long as they show us the numbers.
Oh, look, I see The Ring out there already. Number 20.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I also see the Terrifier on there. Number 21. Dang. So my guess was wrong.
Number 10. Talk to Me. Never seen it.
That's fair.
I heard that was a good one. I think that was another Jordan Peele movie.
No, it wasn't a Jordan Peele movie.
Hell House.
Oh, really?
Haven't seen it. 8. The X's and Emily Rose. I have seen it. Not what I would put in the top 10 movie list.
Wow. I've been wanting to watch that. I've just been so lazy about that.
That was the recent one I haven't seen.
Came out last year. Well, it's supposed to go straight to streaming.
Hereditary.
That one's unnerving.
Hereditary.
Ari
That's
Aster
another good
films
one. Yeah,
unnerve
I've seen
me.
that
That's a
one
good
too.
pick. I could put that I'd be comfortable with that in a top 10.
Conjuring. Yeah.
I enjoyed
A lot of
The
people
Conjuring.
like the clap scene. The
Yeah.
clap part. Insidious. Yeah.
Insidious.
Not surprised
Okay,
that one.
yeah.
Classic.
That.
Skinamark.
But-
Oh, that's one I've been wanting to give a watch. Yeah, no,
never
this
seen
is,
it.
I think, akin to kind of like almost what was those paranormal movies, paranormal activities, almost like those.
I see.
Kind of like a slow burn horror that by the end of it you just get really uncomfortable.
Host. Is that a remake of a movie? I feel like Host was the name of an older scary movie.
Aha!
Sinister.
Wow,
Yes, it was
Jay,
Sinister.
good call, dude. Good call. Sinister number 1, according to science.
It's because of those like video portions, man. Because like like shit's fucked up, but like you don't know how it's going to happen or when it's happening. So when you're showing new viewers, it's like really unnerving. Like, all right, I'm watching a horror movie. What's going on? Something bad's going to happen, and it leads into that, and it just happens every time. And then so you just like, yeah, no, those really help it out. I feel.
Dang.
No segments.
Wow. I'm impressed, Jordan, that you got the number one pick.
Yeah,
That's
so I
good.
guess this is how they're calculating it. They're doing average beats per minute, heart
Yep.
rate,
Heart rate. Mhm.
plus your stress percentage. So yeah, there you
Oh, that
go.
would
I
have been
also
good to talk
think-
about. Yeah, explain the science aspect of it
Yeah.
before we watched it.
What was the oldest film out of the top 10? I feel like there wasn't anything before
Almost-
the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said
It's-
Sinister was
it's-
2013.
Yeah.
Maybe a 2005 movie was in there.
I'm thinking like Insidious was before Sinister.
Insidious like 20,
Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005.
2005. All right, cool.
And that one wasn't very good. I wouldn't put that one on the top 10
not
list.
surprised. As far as scare
The
and
Conjuring,
horror,
2013. Yeah.
yeah, it's become more prevalent on how movies have figured out how to scare audiences in the last couple decades than it has been in the decades before that.
Yeah.
I think what also makes Sinister a good movie is it doesn't
Ethan
kind
Hawke.
of follow like the formula of a generic scary movie where it's just like a bunch of jump scares. I think it relies on the fact of creepiness and like the intenseness of it. It didn't have like a lot of
It's
jump
unsettling,
scares.
yeah.
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 I think that was like a
It really
common
built on
theme in
the
all those movies too,
intenseness.
with the exception of like Insidious and The Conjuring. None of those movies really focused on jump scares.
Well, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
It was
that's
more
like
of just an unsettling
Hey,
feeling.
hey, Insidious had that one thing where Darth Maul was behind the lady. She's just sitting in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, Darth Maul is just behind the guy. It's like, oh my gosh!
Yeah, no, I was saying Insidious did use a lot of jump scares.
Oh, okay.
Insidious and Conjuring, I feel like, had a lot of jump scares, but the rest of the movies on that list didn't really have a lot of jump scares in them.
Yeah, no, I feel like
I think that's what gets the heart rate racing too, is the unknown of what's happening.
yeah, if you get somebody really invested into something and just bring in like an unknown, unsettling kind of like factor to it, just like what's going to happen, because like there's situations where what is it like the person goes into the shed by themselves at night. It's like, all right, they're going to get them. When's it happening? Kind of thing. But like, yeah, like all these like snuff videos of these kids, like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah.
it's not the pro tag doing it. It's someone else you're watching. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was an entertaining one. I'm glad you added that one on there.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad we found out what TikTok. Well, while we're on the topic of movies, let's get into some Halloween movie recommendations. So I would be remiss to have our local cinephile on here and not talk about some movie recommendations. So whoever wants to start us off, man, what's your go-to Halloween movie? What's something you recommend someone watches for the Halloween season?
I'll go last for this one. We'll have.
I can go first. I really enjoyed the remake of It, that recent remake of that Killer Clown. So I would recommend It, the newer version, because it just brings that. I mean, it does follow the generic of a lot of jump scares and whatever, but it also brings that factor of creepiness, which I kind of loved in the movie. Just the creepy clown, always, you never know he's going to pop up and what he's going to do. And I think it's a good mix of horror and comedy. And so if you're not a person who's into all that horror and jump scares, that it does bring a lot of comedy as well to kind of counterbalance that. And so that's been one of my favorite like horror movies so far is It, the remake.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't go wrong with Stephen King.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest scary movie person, scary movie film watcher, but I think one of the films that I did see, kind of piggybacking off, was it's like a movie that has, the thriller aspect and comedy, was Jordan Peele's Nope. That movie is a classic, like Jaws-esque movie where
It is very Spielberg-esque,
Yeah.
Spielberg inspired.
you think of Jaws and you never even see the shark, right? You think of Nope and you're just waiting to get to whatever it is that it actually you're waiting for, and it's just the anticipation. And Jordan Peele's Nope, I definitely enjoyed. I don't want to say that he hasn't missed yet, but all of his three films, have been very well received and very popular. But I've enjoyed Nope. and that'd be my recommendation.
Yeah, I like Nope a lot too. I think this was a hard one for me because I grew up watching a lot of horror movies, and so it was hard to pick one. And it was hard to, I didn't want to just pick like a standard go-to horror movie because I feel like there's a lot of really popular ones that I could pick. And so I came to two choices for recommendations. One is like an actual horror movie, and the other one is more lighthearted, but I think fits the Halloween theme pretty well. So I'll start off with just the traditional horror movie. If you're looking for a scary movie, I would go with 40 Days of Nights is my recommendation, which is a vampire movie. Takes place in Alaska during, I believe it's their winter time in Alaska when the sun goes down and stays down for 40 nights. And so the premise of the movie is there's this kind of brood of vampires that waits for this time of the year to go out and finally leave their caves and, you know, find food and things like that. And what I really liked about it is, one, it's very unsettling because that's terrifying, right? To be in 40 days of night with not having any sun and being kind of in this isolated place in Alaska. But I really liked the way they portrayed the vampires in that movie because they didn't have, you know, kind of like the typical you know, cunning, sophisticated vampires that you see in a lot of movies. These were very like barbaric vampires that had lived in caves most of their lives, and they even spoke like this weird like barbaric language that was just like snarls and things like that they would communicate in clicks. And so this had this, and they looked like people, obviously with vampiric features, but their clothing would be like rags and tattered. And like whatever they changed into a vampire while they were wearing, they'd just been wearing all these years. So it'd be like even if it was like a suit, it'd be all torn up, like someone had been living in it for years. And so I remember when I watched it, I think it came out like early 2000s, I believe. So I must have watched it for the first time, probably in like early high school, maybe. And it was, the first like vampire movie I'd seen that really portrayed vampires that way, that weren't able to like talk and communicate and use English and sound really proper. And so I really liked the vibe they had going for that movie, and super scary too. So that would be my pick for a scary movie. And then for a fun Halloween movie,
What you got?
I really like Van Helsing. That's kind of my pick for a fun Halloween movie that's not scary.
Yeah, with Wolverine, right?
With Wolverine, yeah. With Hugh Jackman.
Human.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's also, obviously, Van Helsing is a vampire-themed movie. That was just a coincidence that I chose two vampire-themed movies. But I think Van Helsing is probably my favorite vampire werewolf movie. You know, hopefully the Underworld fans don't come after me for that, but I think it's one of the better vampire werewolf movies.
You know what? It's funny. I throw Van Helsing in the pot with like The Mummy, where like these movies have like no substance, but gosh damn, are they entertaining?
Yeah, no, exactly. Van Helsing is a very fun film to watch and very entertaining. And the story is okay, but the actors do really well, and the special effects are really cool in it, and
it's just fun overall.
Yeah, and fun overall. And like I said, I think it's one of the more interesting vampire werewolf kind of versus movies that we have. So yeah, those are my two picks, my two recommendations for Halloween movies. All right, Jay, what do you got? I know you've been posting a lot about Halloween movies, so I know you got
every October I post about 10 new horror movies I talk about, of like various different categories, like musicals or classic and all this others. So I'm going to try to keep it within this year, or within the past year this year. So horror movie for this year, I'd recommend Evil Dead Rise. I do not think there's ever been a bad Evil Dead. Every Evil Dead is just great. They really go ham on the practical effects. They don't skim out on the gore. There's tons of gore and blood. And the Deadites are very entertaining creatures. They're not they're terror, but they're also kind of eccentric. So they do these weird things that are silly every now and then. And it's like, well, why is this demon doing this? And it's more or less to confuse and cause like Yeah, cause fear and confusion within its subjects because it needs to drain every bit of out from you before it kills you. Kind of, it's like life sustaining. And Evil Dead Rise was a change to formula that was nice. It was first time that we weren't in a cabin in the woods, if we're not counting Army of Darkness. Which, I mean, technically we did start there at that movie, but they went to an apartment this time in a urban city. And so they had to change some things because there's apparently, I think after all of this movie got made, Sam Raimi made the Evil Dead Bible, quote unquote, where every Evil Dead needs to have these certain things occur. It doesn't matter where it happens or like the setting, but these are things to follow through. Like a chainsaw needs to be in there at some point. What else? The Book of the Dead has to pop up somehow, and like some other things that it's got to follow through on.
The Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. And it was a nice change of pace, seeing it evil adjust to an urban city. So there were some graphic things that happened, which is also great because Evil Dead tries to get very inventive sometimes with the way how it tortures its people. And we get a really cool scene with a cheese grater, I'll say. And so
if that doesn't pique your curiosity, I don't know what will.
Yeah, if a horror movie makes me cringe, not like cringe like I could almost feel that, like you're going up on the list, you're climbing up in the ranks, and there's certainly a scene or two. Besides that, I'll throw out another one. Another franchise has been going a while that's actually been doing really well. The Scream franchise. Scream 6. I thought was really great. I did not like it as much as Scream 5. I thought Scream 5 was a great requel, is what you would call it, like a remake sequel kind of thing, where it's still along the same timeline, but it treads a lot of the same steps as the first movie, but in a new kind of inventive way, such and such. I felt the new Scream kind of played it a bit safe in some spots. I definitely think the next one needs to step it up and try to go out there with some of its ideas. Because part of the Scream franchise is about its meta commentary about horror in general. The Scream franchise like changed horror. Like the horror wasn't always like funny back then. It was very intimidating. We had like the unkillable presence and such and such. Scream brought someone like, hey, this is a dude in a mask. Like he could mess up, he could trip over stuff, and that brought in meta commentary, self-aware that characters are in a horror film, make fun of those tropes while at the same time enacting some of those tropes in itself. It kind of had a bit of a misstep in the third and fourth, but it brought it back with 5. And 6 also tried to be meta within the Scream franchise in of itself, which I don't think was an entirely great payoff. It was still entertaining, it was still great, but I felt like it could have been a little more. And so I'm eagerly excited for the next installment to see them just take it even further and just really go out there and throw everyone out for a loop. And I have my own idea on how they could do it.
So you think there's going to be a Scream 7?
Yes, I do think they're going to be a Scream 7.
I've seen Scream the original and the second one. That's it. I haven't seen any other Scream movies.
Yeah, 3 and 4, let's see, they kind of drop off there. 4, most of the time, won't even be bundled with the others. Because, like, it's always the Scream trilogy. I was like, well, what about 4? It's like, get Scream 1 and Scream 5. It was like, well, okay, but...
So
4 was kind of like the... was the black sheep of the family. No one talked about 4 for the longest time. But, yeah, 6 took some things from 4 and called back to characters on there. So 4 has now re-entered the spotlight for the franchise. So now you can just buy them all together. So it's like, all right, cool.
Would you say I could just skip all of it and just go straight to 6?
It'd be nice to see the first 2.
If I've seen 1. I've seen 1 and 2.
Nice to see the first 2, but you could safely just jump into 5. I wouldn't
5.
say 6.
Okay.
To see 6, I'd recommend seeing at least 5. And to see 5, I'd say 1, if you want to add a little more context, 1 and 2. You don't need.
Okay.
When you were mentioning a horror franchise of this year, I thought you were going to mention Saw. Because they came out with the
I did like Saw. I was shocked how good Saw X was. Like, yes. What is it? It's a midquel. It takes place between 1 and 2. And thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, they actually, so like a lot, I loved I ironically kind of loved Saw franchise because after the first and second movie, it just became a big melodrama as like, oh, I need to torture you because you were really mean to that cashier kind of thing, like almost like comical. Like I didn't care about anyone getting tortured because we had like a 1 minute spiel on like why they're bad and why he's have to kill them. Saw X got really personal. Like we got like more connectivity and like more depth for the Jigsaw killer. Greatly acted by Tobin Bell. And so he got to interact in the story, and it wasn't like until like halfway that like the torture stuff like started happening, and that's because they actually build into the character and for the reasonings why we need to care about these people and why at all we should care about them getting tortured, you know. And that was so great. It was like, wow, like they put in effort. So now there's people's lives I feel I care about at stake here, which, you know, like. For the longest time was just enter in a room. Oh, this guy's getting tortured. You just met him, but you should probably save him. You know,
yeah,
or not. Oh well, the audience paid for the movie ticket.
Yeah, and that's impressive too for a franchise that's been around as long as Saw to have.
Entry, yeah, and we're gonna get another one.
Because I mean, even for me, I don't think I've ever watched any movie series past like a third movie. Like if movies start to get past a third entry, I'm usually lost interest by that point and have moved on.
You haven't seen Fast X?
No, yeah, Fast and Furious, another great example.
The third entry is probably the only one I've seen of those.
Yeah, I've loved.
I remember.
I loved 1 and 2. I think I saw was the third one Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, Tokyo Drift. Yeah,
I've seen Tokyo Drift, and then after that, I couldn't tell you the premise of any of them. I fell off after that.
All I can remember is what is it? That the end theme song for Fast 5. What was it? Is that reggaeton song? Danza Kuduro. That was a pop jam.
So, well, how about same thing for Saw then? So I've seen Saw 1. Honestly, I don't even remember 2. I don't know if I've seen the second one.
My God, can you name a character in Saw?
Yeah, Jigsaw.
Okay, what's the killer's name?
I have no idea. No idea.
It's all right.
Would you say someone then who has minimal Saw experience could jump into Saw 10?
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely. You don't need to see any of them. There's going to be some character you'll be like, wait, well, why they're like that? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's Tobin Bell like leading the performance. It's his story.
I have seen other Saw movies. I couldn't tell you which ones I've seen though. They blend together.
No,
and I don't remember.
That is so crazy. Like and it's so funny that you stopped after the second one because they actually just killed Jigsaw in the third one.
Oh wow! Spoiler alerts. If you're not
no, so it's been out for like 10 years, kidding, but like it's so weird because he was the driving force of the franchise, and they kill him in the third one, and we still had 7 more. It was a point where like it's like I said, it got really convoluted because they're like, oh, he recorded these before he died. Yeah, he'd record 7 movies worth of dialogue before he died, just of torturing people. He pre-planned this that well. Like my guy is the Da Vinci of torture and like of coming up with, just plots. My goodness.
Then was there a show or a movie that starred Chris Rock?
Yes, it was Spiral from the Book of Saw.
Spiral, that's right. Was that a TV series or a movie?
It was a movie, and it was a prequel to the first movie.
To the first one, okay. Have you seen Spiral?
I have not.
Neither have I.
I've seen 1 through 7. I didn't see 8 or 9 or Spiral.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gosh, I wish I could remember what Saw movies I've seen. I know I've seen more than just the first one, but I just can't tell you. They just kind of blend together a little bit.
No, totally. I can't. You can name one type of torture, and it'll be hard for me to point out which one was in which movie. There are some that are iconic. The syringe pit, very disturbing.
The helmet, snapper helmet. I can't.
That didn't even go off till like one of the later ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because so it's popped up a few times, and it wasn't until like one of the final of the original runs that like it actually went off, because everyone's like, "Oh, we keep seeing this, but when's it going to get someone?" It does eventually.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. There's some. You got plenty of Halloween movie recommendations now, so you have lots to watch here. You got at least 9 entries in Saw to watch if you're not sure what to watch for Halloween.
I can hear them singing their pretty song.
Are you guys ready to get into some 20 questions here?
I think it's 60 questions, right? No, but it's going to be a super obscure character, so we get 60 questions, right?
Extremely
obscure.
I thought about doing that. Maybe another episode. I thought about doing an episode completely devoted to 20 questions, maybe doing like 100 questions and just picking like, what would that be, 5 different
How did you guys not get Pokemon Trainer Bill from Pokemon Red and Blue?
Yeah, like pick 5 characters and give people 100 questions, like maybe bring on 3 other people again and try and see if they could name all 5 characters.
All right, so we each get, is this 21 questions? We each get 7 questions? Is this how it's going to go?
Yeah, so no. So it's 20 questions still, but you guys are working as a team, so you guys are going to work together here. You guys can discuss what questions you want to ask.
All right.
And then however you want to ask those questions, feel free to. But you have 20 yes or no questions. I'll try and answer yes or no to the best of my ability. If I think you need a hint or an answer just will mislead you, if it's just yes or no, then I'll try and give you a little bit more information. And then after your 20 questions, you have one guess to make to try and guess what character this is. And
it's
the
a character from,
has appeared in a video game. That's kind of the only.
That's my
And another clue you have is because this is a Halloween themed episode, it is a character from a survival horror game.
Can you edit like every time we say Halloween theme, just like have like lightning sound effects go off?
That's my plan. I want to do something like maybe incorporate some Castlevania sound effects or something.
Yeah, that'd be rad.
Get something in here.
Hell yeah. I'm here for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you guys are ready,
All right, I'm thinking
let the questioning begin.
I think, are they a video game character? We could cancel that out. We don't need to ask that. Sorry, I think of most obvious things to ask to most obscure. That's like how my brain works when it comes to this. Like, cancel the obvious ones out. Start getting to the ones where we kind of start narrowing down. Okay.
I think a good one always to start, in my opinion, after watching so many episodes, is asking if we have played that game together, because then it definitely narrows down from hundreds and hundreds.
Oh, but
of
I mean,
games.
like if we ask that, if the answer is like no, then it could be any combination of us.
Yeah.
You'd have to ask.
You have to cross your fingers and hope that it's like yes, each of you have. Which I mean,
you'd have to spin 3 questions asking if each of you have played that game.
Yeah, exactly.
If you get no for all 3, then you're back.
But
at square one.
I mean, Kevin has had asked questions where they're related to characters people do know, so I think it's a safe bet that we can ask this. So yeah, I feel like that'd be a great way to start this off.
Yeah, lock
Hold
it
hands
in.
together and just say, did we all play this?
No.
Fuck.
Damn it. This is my worst fear. This is really a horror episode. Hell, that could even mean none of us played it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Kevin could just be an ass like that. Oh, God.
A good question I think of is just asking if it's like cross-platform or like exclusive to something. But that's up to you guys. How you want to ask that?
I think the hardest part is the one experience I had the video game. I just couldn't think of the character's name, which was hilarious. But I feel like if
I should have gave you that dub. I mean, you were so.
I was close, man. I said
you knew the
character. All right. How about this? Does asking you guys, not the questioner here,
the moderator.
Does the character have a? No, I was gonna. Never mind.
We could go like.
I was gonna say, does the character have a set name? Because like, there's games like Starfield and stuff where like you could change your character, but then like, why is he asking me what's the name of a character if like it doesn't have a name? Like it's like
Yeah.
So sorry, yeah. Like I said, I think of most obvious things not to ask first.
Wait, what was your first question again? Was it, have you played?
Have we all played the game that this character's from?
Okay, like have each of you played the game?
Yes.
Okay, it'd still be a no.
All right.
So none of us have played this game.
Well, all 3 of you have not played it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we could ask if it's a console exclusive.
Yeah, that
Do you
was
guys want to ask that?
That was my thing. It was
And
console
also
exclusive or
another
cross-platform.
thing to mention is that when you ask these questions about the game that they appeared in, I'm usually thinking of the very first game they appeared in. So
okay. You guys want to ask Fabian's question? Fabian's question was, is it a console exclusive game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's
Okay.
a good one.
Yeah, go ahead, Fabe.
All right. So is this character from a console exclusive?
the original game, yes.
Okay.
Oh.
So we gotta think Xbox, PlayStation.
We could also narrow down by as if it's a first or third person.
I mean, he could throw us in for a loop and have the main character from Eternal Darkness from GameCube, oh damn, that's a deep cut.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, so a spooky themed, it's safe bet it's spooky themed, exclusive character that's not necessarily all of us have played a game of. Okay. I like to kind of go by year as well. So, like, did it come out before or after a certain date?
Yeah, that's a smart one.
All right.
What
What do you guys think would be a good safe bet?
2000, I guess. 2000 to 2010, 2010 to 2020.
Ooh, yeah. Should we do that? Like, did it come out between 2000 and 2010?
No.
I would say I think
Ah!
Oh, were you asking me?
I wasn't asking. I was asking them.
I think we should go before, because if his favorite horror game was from this 1997 PlayStation 1 game, I feel like the game was going to be before 2000. And if we've never played it,
All right. I guess we'll ask that. So go ahead, Alex. You're the next one to ask.
all right, did this game come out before the year 2000?
Yes.
Oh, polygonal. All right. A game that came out before 2000 that's scary, spooky, horror related. Is it? I kind of have an idea now. I need to narrow this down, but I have an idea who it's going to be. Bear with me here. Is the character undead?
No.
Dang it. I thought it was going to be Sir Daniel Fortescue.
Is that the character from Medieval?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would have been a good one. That would have been a deep cut.
Yeah, he was a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
The game I have in mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, but did Resident Evil come out before 2000? The very first game?
Yeah, it came out back in PS1 era, dude. It was all angled, like you had a long hallway gameplay.
Yeah, that's the horror game I'm kind of setting my eyes towards, but
Okay.
I could be.
Ooh, so you wanna ask like if it's a shooter?
Yeah, like a shooter, or like what Alex said, like first person, third person.
Okay.
But he said we
well,
never
well, I
played this
did
game
ask if the
before.
character's undead, so the character's not undead. So we'll cross that out. So that takes out that and what was that other old game? Kane, Legacy of Darkness and stuff like that. All right. So go ahead, Fabian.
But Alex is saying that we never played this game. I never actually played Resident Evil. I just know of it, so that could be it. But
No, but like I was saying, like he said that it's not a game necessarily all of us have played. So one or two or none of us could have played it.
Yeah.
so should I be very specific with my question and be like, is this character from Resident Evil, or should I say,
No. That's way too narrow. Let's ask if they're like from a shooter or something.
Okay, all right, Kevin, is this character from a shooter?
No.
Ooh,
That's 5 questions.
Okay.
so
Okay.
not a
Is not
shooter.
undead, not from a shooter, before 2000, console exclusive. And just making sure it's still thematic to spooky theme, right?
Yes.
All right. Cool.
He said it was from a
I won't
horror
count
survival
that as a
game.
question.
Horror survival game, I believe he said.
Yeah,
Could it be from Silent Hill? That Silent Hill's not a shooter.
I thought Silent Hill was a shooter. But I could be
No.
wrong.
Resident Evil is Silent Hill. You can attack sometimes, but like you don't use guns. I think
Okay.
it's mostly trying to escape the madness. Gosh, but I only know like one Silent Hill character.
I don't know any.
I mean,
Silent
there's
Hill character.
Pyramid Head, and then there's what's her name. Pyramid Head could be an option. I don't know. What are you thinking over there, Alex?
I think another good question we could possibly ask is if this character is like the title character of that game.
Ooh, are they the main character?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here's our 6th question. Is the character that we're looking for the title character of this video game series?
Yes.
Okay,
Nice, very nice.
so the
All
main
right.
character is the title of the game.
And that's 6, right? Was that 6 if I'm
Yep. Okay, so
Trying to think of like old school horror.
so it's either a PlayStation game or a Nintendo game because Xbox didn't even come out until 2001 or like 2000.
Yeah, that's true.
So we got to think back then. Or gosh, it could be a Sega game. Oh god. It's Sonic's EXE, huh? No. No. The haunted ROM hack. All right, let's see.
We could also narrow by gender or if they're different. That's an option.
Hmm.
But we're only on 6, so that might be a question for later down the road.
Okay, well, they
Yeah.
don't use guns. So it's a horror survival. They don't use guns, and they're a title character. That's tough. Come on, we gotta think of some classic. What's some classic horror? Silent Hill, Resident Evil,
But it's the title character,
Fatal
though.
Frame.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just naming off classic horrors.
The thing that kind of threw me for a loop is that this game isn't a shooter, and I took a bunch of my guesses that was going to be. So, like,
I
I'm
guess
kind
we
of
gotta go. We gotta go by console then. I think that's the next play.
yeah.
Get
We
the
got
console,
to
then
ask
we can
like
narrow down.
get the console. Yeah, I want to say it's like what Jordan said. We got to think of PlayStation, Sega, Nintendo.
Ooh. Can I ask a question though? I got an
Yeah.
idea.
All right.
Since we're before the aughts, is this game a 3D game?
No.
Oh, there we go.
What do you mean by 3D? Like,
So like 3D, so like when you play like thing like Call of Duty or something like that. So those are like 3D, where your character can move around in a 3D plane or like a Z-axis and whatnot. 2D means that it's like flat. So we're dealing with a lot of like the 8-bit, 16, 32-bit stuff.
okay, gotcha.
So like Game Boy games or like SNES games.
Yeah. Title character of a non-3D game.
Oh gosh, turning my brain.
Okay, let's see. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. What else? No title name for that. Okay, so if it's PlayStation certainly kicked off the 3D era, or helped push out the 3D era, and then Nintendo didn't follow suit until the N64. So we're probably looking at a SNES game or a NES game, is what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Okay.
Would you guys consider Metroid to be a horror game?
I mean, it's part of the Metroidvania style of game where it's like big old world in a 2D plane, sci-fi action. I mean, it's Ridley's kind of scary. I guess we could, since we could confirm the type of console. Probably. Do we want to ask like if it's on the SNES?
Yeah, I think that's a good
Yeah,
choice to go for.
Okay. All right. It's up to you, Fabian. You're next to ask.
but should I ask if this game's on the SNES?
On the Super Nintendo. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, Mr. Moderator, is this character from the Super Nintendo?
No.
Are we going way back? Or are we missing some flat non-3D games on the PlayStation? Or is it a Sega game? Oh my gosh, you're going to mess with us all and make it a Sega game, aren't you?
I mean, that would count. It's before the year 2000.
Yup.
All right. Our next question, is this a Sega game?
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
How many questions was that already?
That was question number 9.
Question number 9.
Okay, so we're not halfway yet.
Yeah.
There's still some wiggle room here. Okay, no guns. Is the main character of this title game female?
No.
No. Okay, so we're looking at a guy.
That's 10.
Okay.
All right, so some dude McManly man trying to go through a horror game in a non-3D plane. Whew, okay. This is real tough. Is it just going to hit us like, oh man?
Wait,
like,
what
is
about?
it going to get us like that?
Is Doom? Was that a 3D game?
Ooh, when it first came out, so like it was false 3D. It was on a 2D plane that they tricked into making it appear like it's 3D.
An optical illusion.
So that's technically a 2D game, but with 3D graphics. It's funny, but yeah, that's a good one.
But it wasn't on the consoles we've already guessed, or was it? I don't.
It wasn't
know
an
exactly.
exclusive. It wasn't on the SNES. It never came out for the SNES. I don't think it came out for any Sega console. It did come out for the N64. There was a Doom 64 that did come out.
So who
and
is
then
that? Is the main character? Is that their name? Doom? Or I don't remember, to be honest.
well, it's
what I was
Doom,
gonna
Doom
ask,
guy.
Like, is Doom?
But yeah,
is
no,
Doom
that's
his
great.
name?
I like that. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Is it Doom guy?
No.
Oh no! Oh man, I liked our train of thought there.
Yeah.
I liked it so much. Oh,
So that was
that came out
question
before
10,
2002.
right?
as well. Oh, we said it wasn't a shooter. Oh, God.
Oh yeah, damn.
Oh, fools. Fools we were.
Yeah, see, that's what throws me for such a loop. It's not a shooter, so it's like it takes out a lot of games.
I forgot about
What is
that
this?
question.
Is this the clock tower game where the guy has the big old scissors? Are we having like those old school not PlayStation PC games where you have to type in what your character does? Is that the kind of survival horror game we're talking about here?
That makes me think, like, how does he survive without weapons?
You just gotta live through the monsters, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta get past them.
Unless it's,
I mean, there's no
it's a
guns in
real-
Castlevania, but I mean, the main character's not Castlevania McManly.
Unless this is like a really big like 180 Kevin's doing. I don't know why I thought of this, but what about Casper? Didn't like a game of Casper come out?
I don't think he's gonna go for a movie title tie-in game.
No. Because that kind of follows everything. Like, it's not a shooter. It's also the main character is the title. I don't know if it's before the year 2000, but I don't know why that just popped in my head.
Oh man, I was thinking like Mortal Kombat as well, but like nobody's named Mortal Kombat.
A survival horror game.
Yeah, it's not even survival horror. I mean, it's gore. I'm thinking of like blood and gore and stuff. I guess that's something we could ask. Is there blood in the game? Do you guys want to ask that?
Is there like a bunch of gore in the game?
Is there gore or blood?
That could lead us in the right direction.
Yeah. No?
No, okay. So it's more of a hide and seek survive. Ooh, Night Trap came. Oh, but no one's named Night Trap. Night Trap's an old school game. It was one of the first video games with actual like video in it. What question are we on?
Good question. You are on question 13.
Please don't
This'll
let
be
that
13.
Okay, I was gonna say don't let that question count.
Is there a console that we have neglected to say so far? Nintendo, right? Have we said Nintendo yet? Or no?
Well, we said Super Nintendo, so the Super
we did.
Nintendo
We said
console is its own
SNES.
console. So we specified a specific console. Then you asked if it was a Sega, or someone asked if it was a Sega, if it was on Sega or Sega console game. Which it sounds like we cut out all the Sega exclusives from that question. I think.
Yeah.
As far as starting off there, so it might be a NES game, or I mean, Kevin wants to be an ass. It could be a Famicom, just the Japan release NES. Ugh.
Or one of the strategies that I did when I ran out of ideas
Or
was
PC as well.
I started guessing like, oh, is this character's name between A and M, M to Z, you know, and then kind of narrowed it down that way because I had the game, I just didn't know the character's name. We got 13. We have 13 questions in. We might.
Does the character's name start with a vowel? Something like that. Oh gosh.
But we have no leads on the games yet, or even the console.
Wasn't that one character, I forgot where he's from, but Dante? That one character? Isn't there a game called like Dante's Fury or something like that?
I don't. There's Dante's Inferno, but that came out in
There
the
you
20
go.
aughts.
Yeah, okay. And that wasn't like a remake of an older game in the 1990s? No? Okay. Just making sure.
Nintendo didn't really come out with a lot of horror games, as far as I know, during the NES era. They were more the family-friendly console. They had some spooky themed stuff, sure, but Polybius is a game technically as an urban legend. Splatterhouse was an old game, but that has gore. Goodness, I'm sorry. We might have to go with the letter guessing here, Alex. We might go that route.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give us some letters.
All right. Here's our guess. Is our game and our character first name or name in general start between A and M?
Yes.
All right. We got A and M. We can narrow it down between A and F and F and M.
I see.
But if we could narrow it down to one specific letter, we got what, 5, 6 questions left plus the final guess?
We're on. This next one will be 14.
Clay Fighter, Sculptor's Cut. That's a fighting game. It's horror adjacent, just because how horrible the models look. Oh wait, I asked if it was a 3D game. No, wait, no. I was gonna say he could throw in it to be a fighting game, but like,
Yeah, that answer was no, though. It wasn't a 3D game.
yeah. But there's 2D fighters. Like Street Fighter is a 2D fighter. This might be a PC game. I'm feeling like this is gonna be a PC game that came out in the 90s.
Was that Alien game, Alien Resurrection? That was a remake, right?
That was a movie that came out, yeah, like 94, I think.
I mean, Alien Isolation. Was that a remake of like an older game?
No.
No.
Isolation was like a totally new game.
Okay. Because isn't there like old Alien games too? That's kind of like survival.
There are, but I figure it wouldn't be an arcade game, right?
I mean, it could be like a horror fighting game, arcade game.
Like, it wouldn't be like, well, no. Because like, there's no arcade game that's just named after the main. What arcade game are you going to use that doesn't have guns that you're just going to hide all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Okay, let's go letters
not-
round 2. Go ahead, Alex.
All right, does our character's name begin with the letter A through F?
No.
All right, so we got
So it's
F through M. Or no,
F.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We got G through M.
cool. Ghoulie McGoolerstein.
So yeah, we'll take the letters. We got G, H, I, J, K, L, and M.
Well, those are all shitty letters. Most of them.
Well, the one I'm stuck on is H. Isn't there a game called like Helsing?
No, I don't. Well, I mean, I don't think so. No. None prevalent, I think, will be a question or
Okay.
the answer. You gave us a good one, Kevin.
I did. I was tired of people getting the right answer.
Laying the law down. What are we at?
And with-
15 or 14?
And with 3 minds, I figured you guys could come together and really nail this one.
Yeah, I think
Well,
never getting
how
the
many-
console was the killer for us thus far.
I feel like I need to write down the letters somewhere. Okay, let's see.
We got GHIJKLM.
Okay, so the main character's not like undead. All right. Do we want to ask if we're fighting like ghouls or something? Like, do we think we're hiding against like human things or like monster things? Or like, is there monsters in the game or is it like humans? You know.
I was gonna ask if our main character is like human or a monster.
I think asking if there's monsters in the game could cover both grounds, though. Yeah. Okay, I'll ask that. Are there quote unquote monsters in the games? Things like ghouls, vampires, any kind of non-human creature that is prevalent?
No.
No. Okay. So human things.
That's
Damn.
15.
So if it's non-human, then we have to be dealing with zombies, right?
No. Like he says, there's no monsters in it.
Oh, no monsters.
There is
so
no-
then,
Yeah, no monsters in the game.
so then.
Okay, so we're dealing with human things that we're trying to hide from.
paranormal.
Gosh damn it! Is this like Solid Snake? This what? Metal Gear Solid? Could you imagine?
Or animals. We didn't consider animals.
Oh, true.
Well, yes, Jay said non-humans as part of his question.
Okay.
so An animal, I think, would fall into the non-human category.
Gosh damn it! If it's just like that's stealth espionage. There's no way. And there's
So
guns. Especially
if
no
there's,
way.
like stuff that's non-human, it could be just like paranormal stuff, right? Like hauntings or like I don't know, the
I
environment.
would
coming to
consider a
get you.
ghost a non-human, so I probably...
Ghost non-humans. Okay.
What's a game where you're a human that has to deal with other humans and it's scary, but you don't use guns and you there's no blood?
Yeah. GHIJKLM.
I guess another hint I should give you is the gore in the game isn't obscene, but there is blood.
Oh, there is blood. That was one of my questions. If there was blood and gore.
I don't know if the game was able to create blood, but
Okay.
there was an attempt.
This must be Luigi's Mansion. No, that's where I go. I was like, yeah, it must be that. No,
I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah, no, there's probably like particle effects to make it look like there was blood at some point. Okay, so there is blood, and you're hiding from other people, human stuff. Whew.
by today's standards, this would not be considered a gory or bloody game. Perhaps was considered that at the time of its release.
You guys think we guess one more letter? Narrow it down?
Well, what are the letters that we have right now? And maybe we could find a good break point to kind of.
We have GHIJKLM. So GHIJKLM. That's 7 letters.
We could do like G to J, I guess.
Yeah, then that'll leave us KLM.
Yeah, I think that can work.
So what is it? G to J? So it's GHIJ.
Yeah.
All right. Is our character's name start with G, H, I, or J?
No.
All right. So we got
All
K.
right. KLM. Yo, that L is back. It must be Luigi's Mansion. No, there's ghosts. Damn it.
I mean, we've narrowed it down. What is that? What question was that?
That was 16, so you're on question 17 right now.
This is very doable.
Not Metroid. Metroid uses guns.
I mean, yeah, we could. I mean, if we get real desperate, we can go. Is it letter?
Could use your last 3 questions to try and get the first letter of their name.
Yeah. Well, no, you'd only need 2 because of the process of elimination on the last one.
That's right.
KLM. This shouldn't be hard. These are some of the most obscure letters to have for a game.
It has to be either L or M because I'm trying to think of characters that would start with the letter.
We haven't even asked if there's been like a recent, if it's an ongoing franchise, or if there's been a recent game.
Yeah, he said the first one. He said the first one wasn't exclusive.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have had like a sequel that went everywhere and then just stopped there. Like is the franchise still open to this day? I guess is what could be the question.
Yeah, like more.
Like, are they still making games, or do you think that's a moot thing to ask?
We still have 4 questions left.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and ask. Is this part of a franchise that is still supported?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a supported franchise, so they're still looking into making games for this. For KLM.
KLM.
So just think of franchises that start with those letters.
Super Mario 2. No, the Lost Chapters. No.
Last of Us was way too late. This is before 2000. It's got to be M then.
What if it's something that starts with K and it's like the words like kill something? But that's not the title character. It must be a name of the character.
That's what I was thinking too. Like thinking of the K one, I was like a Killer Kyle.
What franchise is still being supported that starts with K, L, and M?
In this genre as well.
Yeah, survival horror.
Survivor horror has no monsters, no ghosts, none of that. It's just humans. So humans coming after you, trying to kill you, trying to survive without using guns.
And just to clarify, the KLM would be the name of this character, not the title of the game.
Oh.
I couldn't remember if there was some confusion, if you guys thought that you were trying to think of the title of it or the character.
That was one of our questions. We said, is the character's name also in the title?
I thought you just asked if it was just the main character of the title.
Yeah.
I understand the confusion. Yeah.
All right. So this main character is not part of the title. So that's what was stopping us.
Yeah, at least we have his name. Hypothetically.
Yeah.
That's what we're guessing. We're guessing the name of the character, not the game.
Gosh dang it.
And we only have 4 questions left, right?
I think like 3 left.
3 left.
18, 19, 20. Got 3 questions left.
3 questions left. All right. Come on, guys.
And a guess.
Let's use all our brain cells.
We could maybe ask more questions about the game that is being supported now. If we can't figure out the game console that was back then.
Yeah, sure.
Because it is a series, but it's got to be a yes or no question. I was going to maybe ask how many games there are.
I know, that's the hard part. Ugh. I'll throw this out there. Is the name of the game that this character's from one word?
No.
Okay. Like the mainline series of the game is typically more than one word, right? It's not just like one word and then just subtitle thing. Okay. I hope that makes it easier, guys.
2 questions left here.
All right, I'll leave it to you guys. I've asked quite a bit. I am stumped.
All right, what you thinking, Fabian?
Dude, I have no idea what. I am totally stumped. I've been stumped since he told us it wasn't a shooter.
A game with no guns?
Exactly.
A nani?
I want you guys to get it now. I feel like
Yeah, I think we spent like 12 questions just trying to figure out what the console was. If we had the console, I think we would have been a lot better of a situation right now. But we have not really many leads beside the first name of the characters. J.
Well, we got a few.
Not
There's no
even JK.
monsters. There's no guns.
Yeah.
The first game was a 2D game. It's not 3D.
We have, what were the letters? KLM, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Monty just came to mind. Monty sounds like a horror name. Monty. I don't know where he'd be from, but
Fabian's just trying to channel some psychic energy right now.
That's
He's got his tarot cards on on his bed right now.
anything that comes to mind, and I don't know why, but Monty just popped in my head. Oh, what was that one dude's name in Resident Evil? Mr. what? Mr. X, right?
Yeah, but he's that game has guns, and he's like a non-human.
Well, he's like a humanoid, kind of.
But the game has guns.
I know.
It doesn't cancel that part out.
And it was a male. We figured that out a while ago.
You know what? Part of me kind of just wants to say it's Luigi, because think about it. Like the first game was he didn't come out originally on the SNES. He came out on the Super Nintendo, and like Luigi's Mansion was the first game was a 3D one. But it is still an ongoing franchise. We're still getting like more Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, but
And it's L.
He considered ghosts not to be human.
Gosh dang it, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, there's no ghosts if they're all in the vacuum. Oh man, Kevin, I'm gonna throw this chair at you if it's something that's gonna make me lose it. And it's more than a one-named, one-worded franchise. It's got like a title, so it's multiple words and it's still ongoing. Oh goodness.
So just to clarify, you said you would count ghost as non-human. What about like demons and devils? Do you also count that as non-human?
Well, the question was monsters. Yeah.
Monsters.
But yeah, I would also consider those non-human.
Okay. Because I was thinking like some game that has to do with the devil, Lucifer. But since you don't consider that not human, then
Do you consider those human?
well, they always take like human forms, like the
Yeah.
devil and then demon.
I get
both
what
take
you mean
human
then.
Forms, yeah.
But yeah, no, none of those either.
Come on, guys. Go on,
Oh,
Fabian.
man.
Just shoot. Take your shot.
Give us any question. We got
I
2
can't.
left, right? We got 2 left.
Yeah, I'll say I spent my last one because my last question was the third to last, so I'm going to try to rob you guys of your final ones.
I'm trying to think of like what Alex was saying. If we could have found the console, this probably would have helped. But also, if we could have like found what franchise this belongs to, or like what company makes this game, that probably would have helped as well.
Yeah.
Because like, what company makes a lot of good like horror games, or like what franchise makes a lot of good horror games?
It
That's
could just
still-
be PC, man.
That's still ongoing to this day.
Because there are some games that came out on PC that, just came out on there and later on jumped onto console.
Yeah, got ported.
Yeah.
I'll use my guess. Does this character's name start with the letter K or L?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Cool.
K or L.
Fabian.
It's Luigi, man.
All right, you have one final question and a guess.
All right, Fabian's question.
Oh man, why you gotta leave it to me? I have no idea.
Just give it to it. Say if it start with the K or start with an L. I'll use our last question.
Should I flip a coin?
Well, either way, it's one or the other, right? So
Yeah. All right. Hold on. All right. So heads, I'll ask if it's K. Tails, I'll ask if it's L.
It don't matter.
Leave it to the fates.
I'm gonna flip it.
It don't matter what you flip.
either way, we're
All
getting
right.
the right answer.
All right, Kevin. Does this character's name start with the K?
No.
All right, so it's L.
It's L.
It's
I hate
Luigi.
how it keeps coming back to Luigi.
It's Luigi.
That's question 20. You got one guess here.
All right, what do you guys want to guess?
All right, let's go through
there's
all
so
the
many
L
Ls.
names.
That could be a horror.
You know what's my
main
number
character
one?
name.
Yeah, we got Luke, we got Luigi, we got Liam, we got
There's
I don't
no way
think so.
it can be Luigi at all.
I mean, what other names start with the letter L? I think
Legolas.
That's why I was going back to
Lance,
like
Leon.
the demons and devil thing.
yeah,
It's
Leon.
Lucifer.
Lucifer,
Leon's also a good one.
Landon.
Leo.
That's it. Leo, Leon. I think those are our best. guess.
Leo. You guys just want to say Leo?
I think we just got to go Luigi, right? If we're gonna get it wrong, might as well get it wrong with Luigi.
You're right. If we're going to get
might
it
as well
wrong,
go-
it's going to be Luigi. I
Yeah.
like that. All right. Is it decided?
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right. Is this person Luigi?
No, the character is not Luigi.
Bummer.
And oh man, that was tough. I feel bad because in my mind this is an easy character, but the rabbit hole of questions you guys went on, it really just led you astray. The character was Leatherface, who first appeared in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 1982 on the Atari 2600.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
And he has also appeared in future titles such as Mortal Kombat X, Dead by Daylight, and most recently the newest Texas Chainsaw Massacre game that came out that was kind of a clone of Dead by Daylight.
I mean, in a loose sense, it is a supported franchise, not a supported game franchise, but a supported franchise.
Yeah, maybe that would have been a good question to give another hint on. The supported
Funny enough,
franchise.
the only other one I was thinking that was like a horror game was the Friday the 13th. There was a Atari Friday the 13th game that came out a long while back.
Yeah,
Jason was like blue and purple.
Yep, I did consider that game too. I thought for sure you guys would ask like, is this tied to like a license or a movie or something like?
No, see, I didn't even think to ask that. I was like, there's no way it's going to be a movie tie-in. I even think I said that aloud. There's like, it's not going to be a movie tie-in.
Because I feel like so many early games were all like movie tie-ins. Like the old school games all had movie tie-ins, and now most survival horror games have either a movie they're based off of or a movie was created based off of that video game. So.
Yeah, no, I just always assumed that
Like
it's
Silent Hill, Resident
an
Evil.
original video game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe someone would ask, is this character in Dead by Daylight? Because that has such a list of iconic
Damn, yeah.
survival.
That was going to be
With L, that would have narrowed it down right off the bat.
So
had that
in my
question
head,
in the
I
back
thought,
of my mind.
oh, this one is tough enough, but if they ask the right questions, they'll narrow it down.
But then, even then, like Dead by Daylight doesn't have a whole lot of video game horror. Like it barely got some a couple years ago.
Nicely played, guys. That was a tough one. I'll give you that. It was the original game was very obscure. That's why it was hard to say your gore question, because really there wasn't really that much gore in it, but I think there was some maybe red pixels in there. Because what the game was you played as Leatherface in that original Atari game and had to chase around survivors and try and find them and hop over like little obstacles of just like fences and cow skulls and other things.
Yeah, we gave it the good old college try, man.
Well, I think that sums up our spooky episode. So thank you guys for coming on here and doing this with me. Anyone got any shout outs they want to give? Any projects they're working on? Any Twitch streams going on? Alex, Jay, you guys streaming
I've
on Twitch
dabbled
at all?
in some Marvel Snap streaming, but I haven't in a while.
Okay, so nothing. You don't got anything on schedule right now,
Nothing on schedule.
Jay?
I gotta watch that new Scorsese film, The Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh my! I wanted to watch it as well, and I looked at the runtime.
It's 3.5 hours, yeah.
26 minutes, and I was going to go last night, and I said, nope, never mind. I got to spend a whole weekend day.
Yeah, no, we've been prepping for this. Everyone watched Oppenheimer. We've been prepping.
Yeah.
Thank you again, guys. I appreciate it. Love you. Have you back on maybe next Halloween. We'll try it again.
Yeah.
All right.
Congrats on episode 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats,
Go watch Saw 10 and
Also, can the next horror game be a shooter? That way I don't.
Fabian, next time you're on, we'll give you a softball.
Cool.
Got to get him on a solo episode.
Thank you for listening to this month's episode. As always, you can find my contact info and links to articles that we discuss down below in the show notes. Please feel free to contact me if you have any suggestions or feedback for the show, game recommendations, interesting news topics that you want to hear discussed, and any video game character suggestions are always appreciated. I hope you pop by for next month's episode, and remember, it's only screen peeking if you get caught. Stay frosty and happy gaming.